We're live, everyone. What is going on? Welcome back to A Certain Point of View. We are here on a Sunday for the main show. We are one less today, but that's because she is at one Cantina event without us. Jill's kicking it at the Cantina today. She knows all the goodies that are coming out of today's Cantina match. But we are here holding down the fort, and we have a really, really cool show planned today with two guests as the Den is taking over today. The Den is taking over. We got Mr. Thomas Harper, your brand new Star Wars champion. And we have Mr. SAUL, who is going to be fighting Robert Parker here very soon. We have a lot to talk about. But Molly, Brian, we're here. We're here to talk to Schmoedown. How you guys doing? Weekend good?
It's an eventful weekend for us. We did a lot of stuff this weekend. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, but fun stuff.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff. This was just like a weekend where we managed to fill up just about all of our time. So, yeah. I need to sleep for 3 days.
Well, then maybe you can stay up 3 hours till 2 in the morning watching Parks and Rec for the 97th time.
You know what? I don't need your sass.
Yeah, that's kind of on you guys, but
It's just another weekend here. It's hot, per usual.
it's very dry here right now too, which makes it worse. We got was it Sunday and Monday or Monday, Tuesday or something? We got a little rain.
Thursday, Friday.
Was it later in the week? Okay.
Yeah, because I was going to work. Am I gonna have to bring an umbrella to work? What is going on?
What is this?
Yeah, it was thunder, lightning. That doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
Never and of course I'm at the time I'm craving ice cream, and so I'm gonna go to the store, and then all of a sudden it's just I walk outside and I'm like, the hell is going on?
That's every day in the South. There's a chance of a thunderstorm, so you just got to be ready for it.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, don't get ice cream during thunderstorms.
Unless it's hot like California, it's not like it made it colder here.
It was a dry thunderstorm.
Yeah, it doesn't make California any colder. It was still the 85-degree rain that it's
hot raindrops and
it's terrible.
Yeah. Hot rain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This state doesn't know what it's doing.
California, we love it, but guys, don't ever move to California. Anyway, we have a lot of fun things to talk about tonight, everyone. Obviously, we're going to be getting to the Star Wars Championship right off the bat, and we'll be talking about that in full with one Thomas Harper, and then we're going to be talking to Mr. SAUL. First time on the show, SAUL will be joining us, and we're also going to talk a little bit about this benefit of the doubt rule. That has been coming up quite a bit recently, specifically in the Janine and Eric Zipper match from this last week. But before all of that, let's get into the goodness, because Star Wars is arguably our favorite division, clearly.
A little biased.
We really enjoy it. And Star Wars has been pretty crazy this year. It's been very, very crazy. It's had the most up and down as far as winners in recent memory. And it is currently in the hands of one Thomas the Major Harper. So let's bring him on. Let's talk to him about it. Your brand new Star Wars champion, Thomas the Major Harper. What is up? Welcome.
Yay.
I'm going to enjoy being the temporary home of the belt until Molly crushes my soul at Spectacular. So
yes,
it'll be a good couple months.
It's coming.
So wait, hold on. So we just got the official pick, everyone. Thomas Harper's picking Molly over Alex.
Oh, yeah. Alex is old news. I've been saying it all year.
Strength knows strength.
Well, we got to start. I mean, we'll have all kinds of questions for you. I'm sure some of the fans do as well. But you're officially the Schmoedown Star Wars champion of the world. We were talking a little bit before the show, and I know it's been a little bit since recording, but it's finally kind of starting to sink in a little bit, is it?
A little bit. Maybe when the belt shows up, it'll immediately get some Frozen stickers put on it. Crayon will fill all the nooks and crannies. I feel like other people have this unique experience. Well, other people, by that I mean Alex and Andrew, have their own experience. Mine, this belt's gonna suffer some injuries before it ever makes it down here. So maybe that'll make it sink in a little bit, but it's been a wild ride. It really has. I mean, to go to quote Qui-Gon Jinn, your focus determines your reality. And there was never a space in my brain that I allowed something other than this outcome to be there. And I don't say that out of cockiness. I just say, I came into this league and decided to dedicate myself to it. Wasn't at Dragon Con, had major FOMO, Molly, looking at y'all's pictures, and congrats on the top placing there last weekend. But I said, I'm not going to go into this thing half-assed. It's going to be 100% or nothing. And while I wasn't presumptuous enough to think that I'd hold the belt as a thank you as a rookie, I didn't entertain the idea that I was going to stumble and fail. And so that's the sort of mentality that I brought with my work ethic, with it was a business to learn the game, right? People think that you just come in and it's like you just know how to play. That was a very fair critique of all of the Dragon Con players as we started this rookie season. Was not they're going to be terrible, they're not going to know the game, but what are they going to do in this space that's very unique compared to other trivia competitions? And it took work. It took a lot of hours watching matches, kind of studying, listening to interviews, listening to other players talk. I mean, and that goes outside the division. You're having to pick up bites from folks like Bateman, from Merle. Ethan Irwin's a fountain of strategy and knowledge when he pulls back the curtain. My mentality was I'm going to learn. I've got to learn it very quickly, but I've got to soak up a different kind of viewing than I've had just as a pure fan since watching Alex defend in Chicago in 2019. And I'm happy that work paid off. And I'm most happy that it paid off, and I've repaid a little bit of that debt toward the other den mates that have really propelled me here, because this wasn't me on an island doing it. This is a lot of people behind the scenes taking a lot of time to help me.
Yeah, it was clear from Kate's point of view too. I mean, it must have been cool because, and mistake me if I'm wrong, chat, but I'm pretty sure on this, Kate has never had a championship from any of her players in her entire Schmoedown, and so that must have been really cool to bring home a belt, not just for the faction, but your manager, who we all know has gotten incredibly better at managing, starting out as a complete rookie when it was last year. And now kind of just growing you into what you have become in the Schmoedown after drafting you 3rd overall. You never played this game. It must be pretty cool from your perspective to give that to her as well.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. So the stat is that she is the last manager of the faction era to not coach a belt holder, or to not coach somebody to a belt. Right.
Wow.
She's obviously coached folks like Riley who have had belts in the past, but never somebody winning a belt. So that was important. I look at it sort of like, and the den, quite frankly, we haven't had any belts. We started out the season without anybody actively contending for a belt. We had some people that maybe were a couple steps away, depending on how things shook out. But we didn't enter the season with any number one contender matches. We didn't enter the season with anybody on a clear short path to a title. We had to work, no matter who it was going to be a pathway and a battle no matter what. And Saul, I think, will tell you himself when he comes on just how hard that is. I mean, he was the first one out of the gate to get close. And, I think Collision was a big learning experience for him. This match, as everybody saw, could have easily gone the other way, as could have a number of my other matches. That's just how the Star Wars division rolls. So I equate it to normal sports, like an NFL team or an MLB team that's never won a title before. So to be the first person to bring a title, I'm not going to make a comparison of myself to any kind of sports figure, but it's like the Cavaliers winning a championship for the first time. There's something significant and special and important faction internally, and internally to me, about being the person that sort of rights the ship in that way. And we're mathematically, I think Kate would also completely agree with me here. Mathematically, to get to a place where we win or maybe place top 2 for the faction championship, I don't think that's happening. I just like I don't think the math works out in our favor there. But to be able to close this season out when it does and say, look, no matter what else happened, the Den had a belt this season. I think that's significant. I think that's a validation of Kate and her drafting strategy. It's a validation of her, quite frankly, of the roster move over the summer, no matter what happens in these tournaments. And it's a validation of the Den as a faction. You know, we're not going to be some faction that went into 2022. People are like, I could care less whether they exist or not. I would like to think that when this season ends, no matter what happens in singles and teams, with what SAUL and I are doing, you're going to look at the Den as like, hey, they're the specialty division to look out for, right? They've got Star Wars and IG in a really, really good place.
For
and
sure.
I would say that I would echo that even if I lose the belt at Spectacular, which is not going to happen unless it's tomorrow. But it's just I'm happy to have been the one with the opportunity and able to seize that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Molly, I'm gonna go to you next, being the resident Star Wars person here. I want to know what you got for Thomas Harper.
Don't ask me anything about that Y-wing question.
I must say
that wound is wide open.
that's on Nerd Chronic now to like not use that in all of your opponents' promos for like going on forward. I felt like the difficulty of this match was like really, really good. I don't want to like nitpick too much about the questions, but has there been what's been your favorite question of all of your matches that you've been in so far? Has there been any that you're like, oh man, I have a cool story behind why I know this?
When Christian said the word Y-Wing, I was like, yes, this is like my brain actively short-circuited you can see it happening real time because I start writing very, very quickly. I hear the words Y-Wing and Rise of Skywalker, and I'm like, "Bam! I got this."
Mm-hmm.
So long, Demolante. You're not going to get this one. And I was like, it was like there was a year in Dragon Con where I was wearing I think this is the year Alex won. I was wearing a shirt with the outline of Thrawn Star Destroyer, the Chimera on it, and the Chimera design on the bottom of it. And then we got asked the question, like, name Thrawn Star Destroyer. And I was like, oh my God, it was that moment, except I didn't listen to the question carefully enough and then fumbled the ball. So that question would have been my favorite probably, but now it's my least favorite ever.
That one was hard because I think that was only in the novelization that it got a name.
Yep.
I was like, there. Whoa.
Don't tell me this is the movie's trivia Schmoedown. Anybody that argues against the expansion of this division because it's the MTS, I point you to question 9 of round 1.
I love that you know specifics.
Not like it's burned onto my memory at all.
It'll never be forgotten ever.
No. No, I really liked. I don't know that I have a favorite question out there. I thought my 5-pointer was really well worded and worded in a way that was an absolute landmine. That if you weren't thinking carefully, if you get caught up in the hype that because they always, Molly, you know this very well, they do a great job, either Christian or Mark or whoever's on the desk, of like really reminding you exactly how much is riding on this question. That's whether you're about to win, whether you're about to lose, whether you're about to get TKO'd, they will be happy to get in your ear and squawk about that. So if you get caught up in that, the way they worded it in asking for a stormtrooper's name or the commander's name almost begs you to sort of overthink the question and say like, oh man, did I miss something? Was there like a visual dictionary entry? Was there a comeuppance style like line in a book or something like that I've missed? But in the moment, I just had this moment of zen. I wrote it down very, very quickly, and then I spit it out just about as quickly. Characteristically, I usually take my time and kind of look at it and mull it over. But I was like, if it's not the TK number, I'm living or dying by this TK number. So, and it was also a question where I was like, I've reflected on it. I was like, nobody can look at that and say like I had a disproportionately easier question. I think it was the harder of the 2 5-pointers. I think it would have been very easy to fumble the ball and just have everything crumble like right before my eyes there. So I appreciate winning on a question like that. And, this is the whole match is a credit to Drew and the way he played, because he's on another level. There might be an L by his name at the end of this match, but that performance was incredible. It was one for the ages, quite frankly. And he just happened to be on the unlucky end of the ball. But to be pushed all the way to your 5-pointer and to win on a question like that one will stick with me. I'll like that portion of The Force Awakens. I think will be a little more special now.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, Andrew played great. This might be one of the best games he's ever played too. So
he was on fire. He was absolutely on fire.
He seemed very calm, cool, collected too,
Yep.
and that
More than he ever has.
Was scary seeing him, like, because we've seen like people falter through emotions. He was just kind of like, okay, and I was like, oh crap, like he's really confident, and like, so yeah.
Hearing perfect round at the end of round 1 and me not being included on that you could probably see it on my face. That wasn't a great feeling, as you roll into. I just have to set my whiteboard down, and I'm trying to think. That was the first time where I've not had an opportunity at the bonus, and my opponent has.
Did you know his bonus question?
Yeah, but not only by happenstance. That's something that was a recent ad.
Yeah.
That was a 20-pointer. I mean, that was like a typical like OT, like match ending question type deal.
The only reason, because Alex and I were watching, the only reason we know it is because Alex was on a music specific podcast. Just happened to be about The Last Jedi, and that came up, and we were like, oh my god. Yeah. There's never been a question like that. No. I don't think in another Schmoedown.
No. Please expand the division instead of going into questions like that. It is the first question to ask about a non-Star Wars film ever. And at least to my recollection, I'm happy to be corrected, but as soon as I heard, and I don't know if it's verbatim, but it's in the IMDb trivia, buried in there. So that's the only reason I know it, because Ross and I were, when it became clear that they were starting to ask these oddball music questions, obviously you notice a trend. You had one, I think, in the collision match, and then by the time Nikki's match rolls around and she gets 1 or 2 music questions in there, you're like, okay, we're doing that now. So let's crack the hood on that, and that just happened to be one that was stuck in there.
Yeah.
So, but his guess was a really solid one. I completely understood where he was coming from there, and I thought he was good to burn a JT and try to think through it. I would be lying if as you watch my face, I'm not praying for him to miss it. Because I think mentally in a Star Wars match, 2 points down, even in a five rounder, that's a tough pill. You've got a mountain to climb. 3 points for whatever reason would have been substantial. Obviously I didn't know what was going to happen in round 2 at that moment in time, but I was like, 3 points. I don't want to think about that right now. Yeah. So I was trying to channel all my Force energy to hope that he would have a slip there. And it's just a really difficult question. As soon as they said the question, I was like, please don't have read IMDb. please. This will either be really, really easy for you or really, really hard. There is no in between.
Yeah, those questions are always hard when you're just like, I'm just going to throw out a guess and hope that it's right. Man.
All right, real quick, Brian, before I go to you, I'm going to go to Tim Sims Super Chat here. And he says, with Andrew ending his season after losing the title and not entering the tournament, where does he stand in the race for Star Wars Player of the Year? And how do you, Thomas, feel about being the current Rookie of the Year frontrunner?
Can I give you an answer to the first one?
Absolutely.
I think he's the Player of the Year. I think, Molly, you're gonna have to duck and cover because Alex's ego is gonna bust open the wall and knock down the door. Exactly. Here we go. Take cover. You'll be
always
thankful.
watching.
There is nobody in the movie trivia Schmoedown that had the air of invincibility like Alex did coming into this season. And it's not because, and it's unique because it's not as if Alex has never missed a question. It's not as if he just completely dominated every match he's ever played, but he won. He won convincingly, and he won against a wide range of incredibly skilled players again and again in multiple different formats. By the time that match rolled around, he had just TKO'd Ace off of that run in a dominant fashion. And I know there were, Ace was facing some tough circumstances behind the scenes, but that was a dominant win in the digital age. I mean, Alex sliced and diced that entire match. And then you roll into this match. It's the first match that, as a fan, I just felt like, it was a weird feeling. Like my insides turned cold. I was like, oh man, we just witnessed something.
Yep.
There's not been another player, and I know Alex wouldn't put himself on, in the conversation with Merle or whoever else because he's a very humble guy. But it's not as if there was GOAT status on the line, but he just had this air about him that was like this armor, and I knew Demolanta knew that. So to break that, to go into the second match holding the belt, but having everybody voting, if not rooting against you, then beating him again, and then going to Collision and having people still doubting him somehow.
Yep.
And facing Laura Kelly, and Laura Kelly may be on Swag's roster, but I think everybody that's a Corruption fan out there is still a massive Laura Kelly fan. Laura plays a character like nobody's business. She plays mind games like nobody does in this division. And to in the face of that, be down early, come back, and win convincingly, not even have to answer his 5. No, he had to answer his 5. He actually answered a tough 5 in that question, in that round. That's a body of work that's kind of been unmatched, right? And I've got 5 wins, and I'm not going to stack them against 2 wins against Damon and a win against Laura. So I think he's got that on lock. I have every bit of respect for Drew deciding to shut his season down. I would have given serious consideration, and I can't be honest with you without saying that if I had lost this match, particularly in that fashion, that I wouldn't have done the same thing.
Yeah.
So anybody out there that's questioning or whatever, this game is brutal. The prep is brutal. To get up for a championship match like that is a mental slog. To lose, to just play is mentally difficult, regardless of what it seems like on screen. I said before we started, this match took over 2 hours to record for a variety of reasons. That's a long time to stay in the box. It is not like 45 minutes or whatever the edited version ends up being. There's a lot of stuff that fans will never see. That's a long time. My adrenaline dumped out after this match, and I was gone. Yeah. So he's an absolute warrior. I will hear nothing else of it. I will hear no complaints about his decision to shut it down for the season, because quite frankly, you don't know what it's like if you're questioning him and that decision. So for me, if my vote counts for anything, he's my Star Wars Player of the Year. As far as the Rookie of the Year competition goes, I won't comment on that. My work is what it is. So yeah, we'll see. But I feel very strongly about that Player of the Year race there.
I would agree, and I was exactly what you're talking about of the doubter. I picked against Andrew in both Damon's match and the Laura Kelly match, and he proved me wrong. So I completely agree. But Dean does make a good point here. Not that one. This one. If you do defend it spectacular, then it's a conversation. So
that's why my vote only counts for one person if I get a vote. Other people can have that debate. To me, it's not a debate. No matter what happens, it's spectacular. But that's just me. He did something historical. I would defend the belt, and he's done that twice this season. So
that's fair. That is very fair. All right, Mr. Brian, what do you got?
First, how quickly did you get Brian Ward's poster blown up?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Immediately, and I go to it's like a FedEx print shop, and I've gotten a couple things printed there, so that like that conversation that I think I tweeted about like is very close to what actually happened. Except I don't have I'm not quick enough to like quote Kylo Ren in the moment. I'm just like, oh yes, that's me. Thank you. This looks. Do you want to check it first? No, I'm sure it's great. Thank you. I'll see you next time. Although this time around, I did one of the workers asked me about MTS, and I spent a few minutes and just said, it's a lot of fun. You should check it out if you like movies and trivia. So maybe I need to argue for a kickback next season. So if I get a little, a buck or two for every fan that I recruit at FedEx.
You're gonna walk in next time. You might have a Den hat on. You never know.
I'll have FedEx Kinko's. This one franchise in Allentown, Pennsylvania will sponsor me, and I'll have my small FedEx print shop fan base in the half of one row in the audience there. That was pretty cool. Like to get photoshopped in any capacity by Brian Ward. He was like, we were DMing, and he's like, it's always tough coming up with ideas because there's so many matches and I've got to do stuff. I was like, there are a lot of Ewoks that you've yet to Photoshop any of us on. I would be happy to be like Poplu or Logan. You put me on any Ewok's body. I'd be the dead one that's gets shot and is all sad.
There you go.
But my real question is, Ross came in a little bit probably more than halfway through the season. How much did him joining help you to get to where you are right now?
I can't quite put into words how big he's been. His name ought to be etched on that belt. He came in at a particularly critical time because behind the scenes, people's lives shift and people get busy with different stuff.
Look what you started.
All you want. See, look, I'm the inspiration for anything. You can all thank me when it's just nothing but us on Ewoks. Ross has been an absolute force, and he came in with this mentality of, I've got nothing. I'm not guaranteed a match this year. I may not get a match, but I'm going to throw everything behind you to help you in the best way that I could. So we're talking a guy that is busy like everybody else in this league. He runs a company, helps run a company that he co-founded up in Canada where he lives. Just a phenomenally brilliant guy. I think he won Entrepreneur of the Year, 25 or 30 and under Entrepreneur of the Year in Canada.
Wow.
So this is a guy with a lot going on. He's getting ready. He just got married not too long ago. I think this is 2 weeks. Ross will correct me, but he's been married for 2 weeks. He's going through the final preparations for walking down the aisle with his beautiful bride, and yet there he is multiple times a week helping me out. And in particular, I want to say that the Movie Trivia Schmoedown should never hire this man as a question writer, because we will all be doomed if he is ever allowed to write a match. We'll be crushed and driven from this league in tears. In particular, the speed round work that we did, because there was, for a while before we knew whether it was going to be digital or live, I was practicing both. I mean, you have to, and that stunk. But once we sort of had a good sense that it was going to be digital, I switched over, and he's writing speed rounds for me while he's having his morning coffee. So a normal person might, I don't know, talk to their fiance or catch up on the news or take the dog for a walk, and he's writing these incredibly difficult speed rounds. And so that was something I didn't quite look forward to every week, was seeing what he, we'd log on. He'd be like, okay, I've got 7 written for you. I'm like, oh dear, here we go. It's gonna be a long 7 minutes. But every round, every match sort of practice session that we would have, I have note cards where I would write down stuff that I got wrong and the correct answer. I filled up a lot of note cards with Ross behind the scenes, and that's how you get better. It's not by like answering 1,000 questions correctly. It's by touching the hot stove again and again and again, mentally learning how to get over that, taking those wrong answers and cementing them into your brain like comeuppance style, and trying not to miss them again, all the while evolving your game. And Ross, in addition to his Star Wars knowledge, despite never playing an MTS game, he's had his one FCL match. He sees this game as as a veteran player. He and I would have sort of tactical discussions about matches and whatnot, decisions that were made. He changed the way that I approach the game to a certain extent, and I think you don't get to see that outright, but decisions that I made while the match was going on were influenced by Ross. I don't know that I would have made some of the same decisions without his influence. So he's made a significant mark on my season already. He's a big reason why I won that belt. And the biggest thing that I'm excited about is that my win means that he gets a match. That's awesome.
Yeah, we talked to him in January, and he gave off that vibe then, just by talking to him and his outlook on Star Wars and the league in general. And he has a match coming up. He's playing Nikki DiMolanta. And speaking of the tournament, we won't get into specifics as far as like the picks on the matches and stuff, but you are now awaiting the winner of that tournament. And that'll be live at Spectacular in December. What do you think about the matches that are happening, the players that are involved? Do you
free vacation?
Well, yeah, of course, Brian, duh. But are you expecting complete bloodshed from all of them? Or like, are you excited to watch behind the scenes? Like, what's going through your head going into the tournament?
The number one thing is that I'm glad that I'm not in it. When they released, obviously we have a different bracket than the two that were released in August. Yeah. But even when those two were released, my heart sunk. I was like there's no shade on the tournament that I went through. That was tough enough. But whether I won or lost this match, the bracket was going to be a murderer's row on either side. I mean, just matchups that you would typically see in like number one contenders matches. Heck, if Molly, you and Alex were the only folks on that left side of the bracket, I mean, like, what do you do with that? It's like
mine and Alex's match was the only match that stayed the same in any bracket scenario.
That's so true.
So that showdown was going to happen no matter what. But that's amazing. I mean, there are matches that, or potential matches, depending on how things play out, that folks have been clamoring for either since the start of this season with somebody like a Gold Leader, or for the entirety of their fandom in the Schmoedown. In the case of Molly and Alex, he can't. No, Gold Leader Brandon is too bad at spelling. There's no way. See, what you don't see behind the scenes is that they make you spell your name before the match, and if you get it right, you get to play in the match. But if you get it wrong, so he's gonna spell his name wrong, and then Scrimshaw will win and move on. So that's just facts. So no, I kid. Yeah, I'm happy that I'm not in it, but it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch these things. Ross is going to be scary. That match is going to be titanic in nature, even though it's two rookies with a total of one match between the two of them. And the winner has to square off against either Molly or Alex. I mean, you're talking that match alone could easily be a title match, right? And then on the right side of the bracket,
Star Wars matches could be title matches.
Yeah, on the right side of the bracket, you've got Eric Whiteley, a guy that I personally know has been just absolutely hungry to play again since I played him. Lost by a razor-thin margin to me, and has been in DiMolanta's court the entire season, helping him prepare. Eric's a phenomenal guy, and he reached out. We DM occasionally, and he said, as Collision was getting close, he's like, man, like, I don't know what it is, but like, I've just had kerosene thrown on my fire for competing and for prepping and stuff, and that's absolutely working with Damon, or DiMolanta rather, and I'm sure he's interacted with Nikki as well. but that match against Laura Kelly is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Two big personalities. And then you've got, Gold Leader, who probably nobody likes, and then Scrimshaw, and who some people like. But nobody's seen Scrimshaw since the tournament last season, where he took Demolan to the edge of the world. Yeah. What did they go, like 3-4 deep in sudden death, and he loses on a wickedly tough quote question. So that's I'm happy to not be playing. I'm happy to be playing on the sidelines.
I will say Gold Leader was at Dragon Con, I think Friday, but he chickened out real fast when that test came around. Yeah. He was nowhere to be found for Dragon Con trivia.
It's busy, it's got a lot of stuff going on.
Well, Brian, Molly, do we have any other questions for Mr. Harper before we let him go?
Is NC State going to upset Clemson this year?
After our performance against Mississippi State, we've got to focus on just winning a game that's not against an FCS opponent. So I'm happy for building blocks. I'm not trying to take down Goliath.
Is fair. Well, Thomas, thank you so much for popping in, hanging out with us for a little bit. Congratulations again. Big win up against Andrew DeMotta. And we'll see you in December because we will be there and we'll be able to watch it live. So that'll be fun.
I will say, if you have not bought your tickets for New York, for Brooklyn on October 9th, go to the schmoedownlive.com, get a ticket to go. I will not be competing, obviously, but I will be there. You get to raise a glass with me and enjoy the epic matches that are happening there. I know there are a handful of tickets left, but come join me in October.
All right,
Thanks
perfect.
for having me.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. Have a good night.
See y'all.
Bye. Oh, goodness. There we go. Holy Lord.
Free. It's just shocking.
That's whoever he plays is going to be murderous. It's going to be crazy. So
that is the most brutal thing I've ever seen, that tournament bracket.
Yeah, it's not fair. It really isn't fair.
There's no
and Molly's in it. We're not
I know.
We have nothing to do with it, and we're like, oh my god.
But you look at that thing and you're just like, there's no this person's got it. You have no clue, and then you just have Scrimshaw. It's been magically just not there, and then who knows what he's going to bring?
Yeah, seriously.
We've said it before, but the real winner are the fans for a tournament like that. So.
Yeah, Star Wars has been absolutely incredible this year, and it's going to finish off even better with that tournament, and then spectacular.
Either anyone that comes out of that tournament it's going to be a treat to see play Thomas at Spectacular.
100%.
Any of them.
Get your Spectacular tickets if you haven't already. Real quick, before we move on to our next guest, Mr. Saul, quick plug for the channel. If you did not see, on September 25th, Jill and Molly will be joined by none other than Josh McCouga and Ked Knapsack for Happy Hour. If you missed this announcement last week, this is a big episode of Happy Hour, y'all. McCouga and Knapsack, the wild man and the pit boss return. I don't know if they'll actually return, get crazy, but we'll see. One
I'm
of them
so excited
one of them got a baby now, so who knows what's going to happen. But
it's going to be a good time. Are going to force their way into that show. Jake, Sean, Alex.
It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good.
We haven't figured out a drink for that yet, but I want to put it out there right now that whatever drink we decide to do, we also have on the side some Tums, because we got some older gentlemen,
older men
on the show, and I've been having a lot of stomach acid issues, so I know what that's like. And let's just call it what it is. We'll have our Tums on the side of whatever drink we choose, and we'll call it the Knapsack, whatever that drink is.
There you go. All right, well, let's move this puppy forward and let's bring him on. We have a competitor who has been making waves all year long. He has been doing great all year long, and he currently has a match up against Mr. Robert Parker coming up in the IG tournament, and that is Mr. Saul. welcome.
Yay, how you doing, everybody? Nice
Good.
nice
Welcome
to
the show.
talk to you guys.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for joining us, Saul. Glad to have you on for the first time.
Well, thank you for having me. It's I appreciate that very much. I take your time very seriously. So
Thank you. We appreciate it. I'm gonna go to Brian first. I'm gonna let Brian ask a question to kick this bad boy off. Brian, what do you got?
I mean, mine's not a right off the bat question, but if coming into this tournament, was there anyone you wanted more than Parker? Like, would you have been disappointed playing anyone else, in all honesty?
no, there was Robert. The Robert was in the tournament. It's like to quote the great James T. Kirk, "Why do we climb a mountain? Because it's there." Robert Parker is a mountain that is worth, getting your ropes and getting your good boots out for. It's exciting. Robert is a next level competitor. He's already an elite competitor to me, and he has been since he had one of the greatest, probably the greatest, my favorite debut in Schmoedown history is Robert Parker hammering a stud like Ace Cabrera. If you haven't seen that match, I recommend you go and look up Parker's debut against Ace Cabrera and watch him just handle that situation like a murderer. And so Parker being here gets me. I have a very, some would say unhealthy, I would say complicated relationship with fear, whereas I always get along with it maybe more than I should. And the idea of someone that good and sharing the table with a competitor of that level, to me just gets me, it takes things out of me and brings things, it'll coach things up in me that I can't always bring out. And facing a challenge like Robert Parker is super exciting. And he's who I wanted. He's who I wanted to play. I wanted to play Chance Ellison too. That looked like that was going to happen, but okay. And so I had to make I had to avenge Chance. So hopefully I get a chance to crush him in a match. That's a great question. Actually, I can't wait, and I'm so happy it's him. And I know he's happy that it's me, and this probably won't be the last time we share the table together.
Yeah,
this is a feud. I feel like that will be a long-running, masterful IG feud of the future.
Well, that's amazing for you to say, and I do appreciate that, because not everyone who plays everyone, like, I'm not trying to be a dick to anybody, but sometimes people play and that's it. People want to watch the match, and then that match leaves their head. They don't think about it a lot. Even if it was a good match, sometimes you don't necessarily get that magic where you want to see them go again. I'm very lucky that the first program I ever worked in the Schmoedown is with Brandon Hanna. People seem invested in wanting to see me play him again and again and again. And, of all the competitors I could have had to have this experience with for the first time, I got really lucky that it was Brandon Hanna for me. I'm really lucky that I had someone who was so savvy and so good, and to be able to create that interest for the league, that people want us to go, a third time. That's very special. These are very special. I take the Schmoedown more seriously than I should, and these are special. You only get so many moments in front of the camera at the table. You only get so many questions, and the moments that I get, I'm very grateful for, and the fact that I get to share these moments with someone like a Brandon Hanna and someone like a Robert Parker. I couldn't have authored my season any better. Well, a little bit better. Collision would have went different, but yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because I hope I can live up to my end of the bargain. I know Robert will, where I can give you guys a show and that you guys want the same show again and again. So thank you.
I mean, after Collision, I think that fire is there. So
yeah, that was a bitch. And but no, that was I was on a roll. I was really hot, and I was I had a terrible performance in the free for all, and I had to use that as motivation to kill Greg Alba. So like, it's like you don't learn a lot by winning. Yeah. So you have to keep your feet on the ground, and Collision really was a nice reboot. Sometimes, the Sega Genesis freezes and you just got to hit the off button and start it over again. And
it's so true.
That's what happened. And, that will never, ever happen again, though. I'll never beat myself like I did that night. That'll never, the situation, like I that was a trap game to me, and I'm never gonna get. I may lose matches in the future. It could happen theoretically, but I certainly won't beat myself ever again. And
I believe it.
Yeah.
I have just a quick one before I go to Molly. Do you have an obsession with TKOs?
Yeah, they're fun. They're like regular matches, but way funner for me.
Because they're just like every Saul match we see, it's just a TKO.
Yeah.
Every time it happens, I don't know what's going to happen with the next one, being that it is a 5-rounder and it's a little bit of a different style. But I mean, this TKO thing you've been doing this year is incredible. I mean, you have 4 of them, and that's very rare. That is very, very rare. So it must be pretty cool to kind of have that in the Schmoedown record books.
Well, there's two regular KOs, and then there's 2 TKOs. So,
correct.
Well, the KOs are a lot of fun as well. Ooh, those are even. That's nice. It's like showing up for your shift at work, and you're like, nah, you can go home. We're going to pay anyway. That's even. I don't even have to get to the 3rd round. I don't even have to give you my bullshit numbers. Oh, great. I had something to do anyway. Thank you. But yeah, it's exciting that I'm going on this run right now. I don't know what, I can't guarantee TKOs every time, especially going forward. I know I'm going to be probably having the way I see my career, I'm going to be having a lot more 5-round matches. I think I'm going to be having a lot more elite level competitors. So the opportunities for that to happen will still be there, but they'll be smaller. And, but while I'm doing it, I'm having a lot of fun. And I do think it's actually, I haven't heard this as much anymore, but I remember the first 2 knockouts, people, I kept hearing this sort of like, yeah, but he's playing, the real rejects, which one is, I don't think is fair to the real rejects. No one was calling John Humphrey a bad player when he was beating people in the IG tournament last year. When Greg Alba had a knockout and almost beat Kalinowski in the IG tournament last year. He had a TKO earlier this season. No one was calling them bad players until I, showed up and had them be guests on the SAUL show. But I do think a lot of, I feel very uncomfortable talking about myself in certain ways, and this is one of them, but I'm going to do it anyway because someone's encouraging me to talk like this. I think my performance and the way I play, and I think the fact that I lead the league overall in steals in all divisions, the fact that I can do that, I think does create TKOs and KOs, and I think it's more me than them. But of course, I'm biased, so take that for what it is.
That's fair. Molly, what do you got?
Before I get to a question, I just want to say we recently filmed a Patreon Q&A, and one of the questions was, who in the MTS do you think would win in the Hunger Games?
Yes.
And I said you would.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Do you think you do well in the Hunger Games?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been an archer for all these years, so I guess that's
okay,
yeah.
easy.
There you go.
No, that's not. That's actually not true. But no, but actually, I mean, I do have a proficiency for short-ranged weapons, actually. But yeah, I like my odds.
Throwing axes.
I've gotten into these similar conversations. Well, no, I know how to swing a sword, if that means anything.
Okay, there you go.
But I've actually gotten into similar conversations where we talked about who would win in a battle royal and Schmoedown people. I'd be very well. First of all, Thomas is a military officer so he has PT and he has hand-to-hand combat training.
Yeah.
John Roca, also former military and fucking crazy. So
That helps.
so if you know anything about martial arts and defending yourself, that has to be accounted for. So I wouldn't turn my back to John Roca and in either a fight or the Hunger Games.
That's a very good point.
Mhm.
I was also going to bring up Collision and just ask, what did you change, if anything, about your gameplay or the way that you study after your match at Collision?
Well, I stopped going to matches drunk. No, I'm kidding. I wasn't drunk. I actually had my first drink in 6 years that night because Mark Ellis forced me to.
You terrible influence! You
forced me to.
Was it a Coors Light?
No, it was a very unpretentious gin and tonic. I'm a man of the people. But I did a lot of I'm not being a smartass when I say this, but like I think I just figured out how to play in the Schmoedown like 3 weeks ago. I'm not joking. I think I just now figured it out. And I create these training regimens and these training programs for myself, and I've had varying degrees of success. And I've never had a study session until after Collision. I never studied with my team or anyone else before. It was entirely a solo endeavor. I would go into Thomas's study session and Lacey's study sessions when I could, and I would throw questions at them because I own a couple of Star Wars visual dictionaries, so I torture them with that all the time. I've worked with Rachel Silverstreeny before. I've worked with Peggy Gubbins, but I've never been in the hot seat. So I've never had a study session with anybody before. And after Collision, I made a promise that I said, I told my manager that this will be accounted for. This won't ever happen again. I want something more, so I have to be something more. So I have to start doing things that I think are uncomfortable or that I don't like in order to get better. And that's obvious that, I hit some sort of a bump and that needed to be fixed. And I promised Kate that, that what happened that night would be accounted for. And it's so far so good. And I'm not done trying to, win back the faith certain people, in the league had with me and my manager and my teammates. To me, that's something I'm carrying a torch for. And I don't imagine I'll be putting it out until I'm wearing that belt. So I implemented study sessions, and I don't know if someone told you to ask me this, but I've had some medical problems in the past, and they kind of manifested a little bit when I travel. And for the first time in years, when I got home, I got medical insurance, and I haven't been insured in a while, and now I am, and I'm in certain things are getting taken care of, and those problems will not manifest again for me. So I've changed my actual day-to-day life in order to hopefully be my best, so I can keep giving you a show.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah, you're giving us a hell of a show, I will say, and it's great to hear as well. And it sounds like you have a completely different outlook on Schmoedown and life in general since Collision. And Collision was not that long ago, and I'm sure it was very strange to kind of change all of that so quickly. But it sounds like it's working for you.
Yeah, so far so good. It's still. The problem is that there was a pro wrestler named Mick Foley. I'm not sure if you guys watch wrestling, but Mick Foley is a guy who was very popular in the 90s and the early noughts. He was named Mankind, and he was like famous for being able to take a lot of bumps and get hit in wildly violent ways. And he did an interview recently where he said, someone said, "What's the trick? How are you not dead?" And he goes, "It hurts." He goes, "The trick is that there is no trick. It always hurts. I just do it, It's still really uncomfortable for me to put myself out there and ask people to help me. And I don't, that is, one of the bigger problems in my life, but I still do it because I believe I feel like if I can get better at the Schmoedown and I can keep doing this and I keep getting these opportunities, I owe it to the people who click. Whether you like me or not, you don't got to like me. I don't care if you do or don't. I mean, I like it, but I don't intrinsically care. I'm not doing this for my ego. But if I can put something into the world that is entertaining and something like this, that to me that's worth it. That's worth the pain. That's worth embarrassing myself or whatever. And so I just keep my eyes on that goal of just giving a show and being. I'm very lucky that I've been given this opportunity. I'm lucky that Christian isn't tired of me yet. I mean, he is tired of me, but not I mean so much so that he's running me out of here yet. But yeah.
I don't really watch wrestling, but I know Mankind because he was on Boy Meets World.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I just had to say that.
How much do you love the whole SAUL show thing going on, and like you have your own little, like almost fan club of it and stuff? And
that's right. Look, if you're going to be seen, you might as well give them something to look at. That's my motto, right? So if I'm going to be here, I might as well give you something to remember. I hope. Whether Yeah.
And so, how much has Kate helped you moving forward through the season as your manager? I mean, she just coached Thomas to a belt, first belt for the Den. Now you're climbing the way to that same path. How much has she, as well as your teammates, really been helping you get to that?
I mean, without Kate, I'm not here right now. So I'm trying to figure out a better way to saying she's completely integral and I couldn't do it without her, because that's the case. And there's not a manager in the league that could put up with this. Trust me, it's a lot. It's a lot to handle. And although I must say on draft during the draft, there was 3 managers who told me they were going to. I'm sorry, I'm grinding, because people are coming after Kate for trading for Marisol, and then she took me. And then, if Kate didn't take me where she took me, I was gone.
That's true.
I was going with the next pick. I'll say that. I was going with the next pick, and if something happened with that one, I was going with the next pick. And then there was another manager who gave me a verbal commitment. So Kate had to take me where she took me, or I would be gone. I had verbal commitments from managers. And as of right now, look, this could obviously change very quickly. But right now, I have more team points than Marisol McKee. So take that, Marisol. Go ahead and win that title if you want to prove me wrong. But I mean, that seems like a lot of work. So but Kate Mulligan is beyond a manager. She's we were already friends going into this season, and now we're really good friends. When I go to LA, I stay with her. I know her kids. I know her husband. We spend hours on the phone together. She's become a really good friend of mine, and without having the bedrock of a Kate Mulligan, I don't know that I stay up and watch 3 movies. I don't know that I watch X-Men Origins Wolverine back to back to back. I don't know. Maybe I do. I am. I'm a little crazy, sure, but it having her influence. Her managing who she is and how she does her job has brought the absolute best out in me. There's no other manager, there's no other person that could have brought more out of me than Kate Mulligan. So she's underrated is what she is. And I don't want to, I don't know how next season, I know we're changing things, but I'm not really interested in working with anyone except Kate Mulligan. So that should be a testament to how effective I think she is.
Interesting comment here from Chris Adams. I want Saul to stay with Kate forever, but I can see him meshing with Kaiser and Shannon if needed to.
See, I think it's a Kate through and through. It's too perfect.
Well, first of all, and no offense, Molly, but your manager, he did trade me once. I'm just going to say, I was a member of the dungeon for 22 minutes. I was a member of the dungeon. It was the second day of the draft, 2020. I was drafted in the 6th round by John Kaiser, and I get along well. Actually, I get along really well with John. I've talked to John before. We talk, we text each other, we bust each other's balls. But he never asked me what division I wanted to play in, and he had Kevin and Parker, and he's like, nah, man, singles. I see you in singles. And I was like, you gotta. I go, trade me before the draft ends, you can still get something. And he did. So I don't know that I go backwards, Chris. Shannon Barney is a great asset to this league. I love her, and she's one of the good ones. She's one of the great ones. Am I frozen?
Yeah, but we can still hear you.
We can still hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I love Shannon, but it just wouldn't work between us, Shannon.
No.
It's me, not you, Shannon.
Well, final question before we get to our POV question, because we got to ask Saul the POV question. But you do have a match coming up with Parker that is a 5-rounder. It's the first match of a 5-rounder that you will have played in. How are you preparing and how are you feeling going into a 5-rounder match?
Well, right now I'm feeling insecure looking at myself. I'm going to back out and come back in.
Sure,
I will be right back, guys. I'm sorry about this.
No, you're fine.
I'll do this. There we go.
There we go.
Oh, I love Saul.
It was a great face to be frozen on.
Yeah.
It was kind of like happy, like, haha.
See, look, everyone's loving it. Just
everyone.
Perfect frozen face. Yeah.
Mick, you are absolutely right. Who doesn't love General Mulligan?
That's fair. Fair.
She's been on a kick, and she's been doing a really awesome job. And it's so nice to see, it's so nice to hear all the players in the den just singing her praises.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to last year to this year, it's like night and day.
Okay, he's back. He's good. We're good.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
What was my feelings on the 5-rounder?
Yeah, going into the 5-rounder, how you feeling? What do you? I mean,
I love it.
It's the first one that you're gonna be doing, so
I can't wait. I imagine, I'm anticipating, a lot of 5-rounders going forward. That's what I wanted. That's what I signed up for. I didn't sign up to. I didn't sign up to be the sideshow. I signed up. I told Christian on the day that he told me I was going to be in the Schmoedown in October of 2019. I told him I'm going for the Intergeekdom title. That's what I'm looking. That's literally that's what I'm aiming for. I'm not coming in to be a character. I could have had a very happy, successful Schmoedown career being my favorite player of all time is Josh McCouga. So like I could have just done that. I could have been just a character, and I had a reputation at the time. I was, I was a part of Collider Live in a small way, so I kind of had a reputation. Yeah, exactly. I could have just been that dude, and I would have been very happy. But I thought it would be. I actually thought, wouldn't it be funnier if I was actually good? Like, wouldn't it just be a better bit? And that's. So I decided to sign up, and then I was like, oh shit, now I have to get good. And but the 5-rounder is where I think everyone who's taking this game serious should want to be playing it. Yeah. This is it. This is where I want to be. I want to be at Spectacular. I want to be in title matches. I want to be in 5-rounders. And if I'm going to toot my own horn, you've never seen my ceiling. You don't know what I can do. I'm not at my top speed yet. I just started study sessions. I just started getting. I think I literally learned to trust myself in the Brandon Hanna match. Like the Brandon Hanna match, if I win the title of Spectacular, no match will be more important to me this season than the Brandon Hanna rematch. I literally learned how to trust myself in that match. And which is something I didn't realize I wasn't doing. I wasn't realizing I was blocking. I was getting in my own way cognitively. And I didn't realize that until I had 2 steal opportunities against Brandon Hanna. And I realized, oh, that's how you play this game. That's what I've been doing wrong in every match. And I know the numbers don't point to that because the questions are a lot harder than they have been for most of the season. But I think I had the best match of my career against Haas, and the questions are getting harder. I'm getting better. That to me is a sign of progress. And the 5-rounder presents unique challenges that I can't wait for, that I've been anticipating, and I've just been looking forward to for so long. I'm just glad they're finally here.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun. I mean,
all the puzzle pieces seem to be fitting at the right times.
Yeah, It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, let's go ahead and finish this interview off with the question from POV that we always ask our guests here. This is a movie-based community, and movies have brought everyone together. So we like to know what is your favorite movie snack and your favorite candy, if not the same. Now,
when I go to the movies, I do not eat. That is sort of my own thing.
Okay, that's fair. I don't.
But when I'm home and I'm watching something again, it does feel strange to do it. Like I almost always have popcorn around. But if I'm going to eat candy and watch a movie, I need to balance my palate. So I need to have something chocolatey and something kind of fruity. So I like a nice mix of like a Goober's Sour Patch Kids or like a Snow Caps and Twizzlers.
Oh,
yeah.
So that's like a 1A. So that's like a 1A, 1B right there.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Quick comment here from a former competitor here. Can't wait to see this man in person again. Former competitor of SAUL, is what I'm saying. Opponent. There you go.
Damn, Moses, you bastard. How you doing? Good to see you. Moses and I got along very well in LA, and I'm thanks for showing up here. And me and Moses play on the same day. That's kind of cool. I kind of like that. And me and A-Man, I think we're going to be bumping into each other for a long time. I don't think either of us are going anywhere anytime soon. So that's to me, to share the table with him on that day was you only get so many of these moments, folks. And I try to grip, I spent a lot of my life not being so appreciative of these things. But I am now. And to share that moment with him, that's special to me. That's something, I'm not going to forget that. And I think we're going to be, me and A-Man, I think are going to be sharing a lot more moments in the future.
Also, you'll always now have that cool entrance where the fog is coming up.
Yeah, it's badass.
Oh yeah.
I know. I've never seen it.
Oh,
Yeah.
So wait, so
yeah,
you
I'm
not-
one of those.
You don't watch your matches?
Not really.
Hey,
No, but I do.
It's preference. It's good.
I heard I had theme music, and now I heard it's gone, and I've never heard it. I've never heard my theme music. So like that, I would like to know what it sounds, because I worked with David B for a couple of like a week on but I've never actually heard it. But I do know that that's going on. So Christian, if you're watching, what could you
they'll
send
play
me?
it at a live event.
That'd be funny if you just sent. That'd be funny if someone from like Skybound just sent me a link where I have to buy it. I'm like, oh, all right, thanks. That's
You're like, this has my name on it. I'm not paying for this.
yeah.
I'm sure it'll be played because from what I understand, your match is a live match at Cantina, correct?
Live to tape. Yeah, it's going to be
live to tape, correct? And so
it's a great card. I'm not sure if it's sold out yet, but if it's not, it's a title match. You got Moses Kalinowski for the title, which I call the title, the IG title, because I represent the Green Shield wherever I go. So you got Moses Kalinowski, you got me and Parker right there. That's your show. All right.
Yeah. Fair.
And then, but I can't wait for Alvarez Radis. That's also on the same card.
Oh, that's right.
I can't wait for that. I love characters. I only want characters in my life. I'm not interested in knowing normal, boring people. All right. I'm spending the rest of my life only knowing characters, people who are weird and funny or crazy a little bit. And that's Radis and that's Alvarez. Alvarez is great. I did a show with him months ago. He's the best. I can't wait for that one, but that's and there's another match. I'm not sure it's been announced yet, but
wow.
Yeah. So that's a stacked card if you don't mind me saying.
Get your tickets, y'all. Get your
Absolutely.
tickets. Cantina, September 25th is when it is taping, and you do not want to miss that. That's a big card. Well, Saul, it's been great finally being able to talk to you, man. It's been a long time coming to get you on the show. We're happy to have it. I know Jill was super bummed not to be here, but I'm sure we'll be talking to you very soon again, having you back on, and good luck in this upcoming match.
Did Jill give you that excuse that she's telling, like the kayfabe excuse?
Probably.
Because
Probably.
she's like, oh, I'm at the Cantina, I can't interview Saul. I'm her favorite player. So like her integrity as a Schmoedown journalist would be in question if she interviewed me, and it was just all, oh my God, I can't wait for you to come. Sean wants you to call him back. Like it's all going to be like personal stuff, and she wouldn't do that to herself. She respects the POV audience too much, and that's a woman of integrity. And it's a shame she's not here. But I get it.
Well, thank you so much for carving out some time for us, and we look forward to seeing what you do here very soon.
Thank you very much for having me, guys. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Oh, that was great. Glad to finally have the chance to talk to Saul. Can't wait to see that Parker match. That's going to be wild. That card that he talked about. My God.
Yeah. If I've ever heard it.
And that's just 3 of the 4. We don't know what the 4th one is. So it's going to be a little crazy. All right. So real quick, everybody, we are going to save the Brittany Young, James White match for next week's show because we want to talk a little bit about the benefit of the doubt rule to close out the show. This has come up quite frequently over this season. We've seen it happen a lot. It happened in a Brandon Hanna match earlier this year. It just recently happened in the Janine versus Zipper match. And it's this question of the and the does and where are they placed. The don't mess with the Zohan, the you don't mess with the Zohan situation with the page for Betty. I kind of just want to open the floor because I know that we all have different opinions on this. We talked about it a little bit on Thursday's reaction when it happened, but let's kind of open the floor a little bit. What do we think about this? Does it need to stay? Does it need to be adjusted? Do we like the rule? Do we not like the rule? What do we think?
I'm situational on it.
Okay.
Yeah, same. I'm usually like pro benefit of the doubt on most things. Like 9 times out of 10, what a player is trying to say, and it's like if you get into the semantics of things and start really being nitpicky, it takes the fun out of it. So I think it's one of those things that sometimes you just gotta like agree to disagree and move on. I don't know, but yeah, it does. Yeah, adjust to the rule. It does kind of depend on whatever the question is at the time.
So it seems like when we talk about this, a lot agree that if it's the and the thus and those words, that the benefit of the doubt rule applies. Like it's an okay thing if that word is not included in the title. But like in this situation, when it's you don't mess with the Zohan, but a competitor says don't mess with the Zohan, that's when it kind of feels like audiences and viewers are saying that's a wrong answer. So
Yeah.
why should the two be different? Like I get that they're considered different words, but why should they be different, I guess?
I just think the and are just, it depends on where in the title it is.
That's a big part. Yeah.
If the is like in the front of it, and I guess
It's
Like,
hard
like
because-
the Martian or Martian, right? Like
well, here's another. There's so many gray areas to this because what if you put Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets?
and that's the same thing as Raya the Last Dragon and Raya and the Last Dragon.
But see,
Same-
you have and the so Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Well, that's
Harry
the same
Potter.
thing. Yeah.
But I'm saying like if we get rid of like and
Yeah,
the,
I think
it's like
I see that, and
it's so tricky.
it's such a weird conversation to have because in that situation
Okay.
they'd rule it because it's the only title ever to be called Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, right?
this.
Like,
No.
that's not no.
Sorry.
Like I
get it.
understand the argument. Like I get the argument. They made a really good argument, but you have to
There's-
put the last name when it comes to an actor or actress or a name.
Never once in the 8 years of Schmoedown has the first name of someone been accepted.
I mean, Star Wars is different. I think for this kind of case because like titles of movies, you're gonna know them in the Star Wars division. Quotes, yes, you have to have the exact quote. We've seen that a billion times. You can't mess up a the or an and in a quote. It's
What
Star
about
Wars.
so when it comes to names, the one that came up in the
different movie name.
he inserted a different word.
Yeah.
I think that's inserting rather than taking away. That's kind of a
And
different.
it wasn't a the.
What do we think about? Because it's talking about names, just kind of staying on the topic. Oh, hi, Jill.
Oh, hi, Jill. You just
hi,
missed
Jill.
Saul.
Jill, if you are watching for a quick sec, you should scroll back and see what Saul had to say about you.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
It was, yeah. I mean, not really in trouble. He said something very sweet.
I know. I was being
Yeah.
sarcastic.
So with the Brandon Hanna situation, it was Brandon Hanna versus Robert Parker, and the question was about Planet of the Apes and an actor. It was Rowdy versus Roddy McDowell was what happened. Is that a benefit of the doubt, Roddy and Rowdy, or are those two completely different things, and that should be considered a different answer?
I don't know what the hell those are, so I'm not giving a point.
Roddy and Rowdy, it's a name. It's
It's a name.
It's a name.
Well, see, I am not confident that I know the actual proper pronunciation of his name. So
Well, they're spelled different. So one of them spelled ROWD and one of them spelled RODDY. So Roddy and then Rowdy. So they were spelled completely different.
yeah. So one of those is confidently correct and one is not.
That's what I would think, but they rule in his favor.
Yeah. I was not. I remember that match now, and I was not okay with that ruling.
Yeah, it's a very, and Brian said it's a huge gray area. A huge gray area. What?
Rue, it's the phoneticalness of it and him saying he's a teacher, so he can't teach his kids that way. I know the feeling.
Quick super chat here from Mr. Tim Sim. Oh, not that one. Sorry, Stuart. There is an argument for consistent attention to detail for all 4 divisions at Star Wars levels, with some saying too bad if some competitors competitors find it no fun.
Yeah, it depends. I still think it always depends on the situation and the question. But yeah, I mean, if you want to get super
When the
down to brass tacks and nitpicky about it, I don't know.
when the announcers can't say it, how are the players supposed to do it? I'm kidding. It's so difficult because it's such. It almost seems like it's such a case basis type thing. Like, I don't know if you can really revise the rule, to be completely honest. Like,
well, there's the only way to revise it is either get rid of it or say we're only accepting exact titles.
I mean,
That's the way to revise it.
I'm sure just out of pure, like, easy, just I don't want to hear about it anymore. Next year, it just won't be a thing. Just so that way it avoids the whole, like, well, the benefit of the doubt rule, like that whole thing, because you eliminate it, then so be it. But it's just, there's so many different, like, nitpicks that you can take from it. Like the Zohan one, and then the most recent one, or a spelling of a name, or leaving out a last name. Like, what if the person put Clint instead of Clint Eastwood? Like, then we are establishing that. So it's a pain in the butt, that I think, and that's why I would not be surprised if that rule is just kibosh next year, just so that way, like, no one can use that in their favor or use it against the judges, if you will, of it.
I mean, I agree with what else Timson said. Like, I'm on the side of allowing that leniency, like he says, with different people on the desk. Yeah, it's just one of those tough things.
Like, I was okay with Janine's answer on Thursday. Raya the Last Dragon, I didn't have an issue with it because, one...
See, I'm almost kind of the opposite.
Well, there's not another movie of that name. So...
I know, but it's
like, she knew the right answer.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and that's the thing. She knows the right answer, but at the same time, like, I could understand what Winston was saying in that. Like, it's just... it's so opinion based, and that's the problem.
Well, and that's why the rule needs to be in cement, like, solidified. This is the rule. That way those on the desk or behind the scenes know, okay, this came up, this is what we go to, and that's point blank what everyone knows. At this point, it very much feels like the rule isn't finished, and so every time it feels different.
See, I just don't know if you can actually nail down that rule completely.
Yeah, it's definitely a case-by-case kind of thing.
I mean, I think you could... Yeah, exactly. See, like, with ASGs, like, Zipper New was Oliver. He just added the extra name to it. But then again, it changes the movie name.
Yep.
But there isn't another movie with the... It's just so... it's frustrating. And I can only imagine how frustrating it is for the people having to make the calls, because it's like
it's frustrating for everyone involved.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's a weird situation that no one's ever going to be perfectly happy. None. You can get that through your head.
You know why?
There's absolutely no one going to be
right here. That's why.
Yeah. Guys, we're human. It's movie trivia.
It's like sport refs. They're always going to make a mistake. It's part of the game. Like, it's just part, like, that's kind of what we're going to have to live by. I agree with that. I completely agree with that. It's just, there's flaws in every game, whether it's a sport game, trivia, card game, there's flaws in everything. And we kind of just have to live with it. Like, it's going to happen. That's just what's going to happen.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, 1,000 people could watch that match.
Facts, Brian Ward. Facts.
Yeah.
But that would make things way too easy, Brian. No.
Yeah, but I mean...
Ooh. Okay.
I feel like it depends on who you are. And that also takes it to the level of seriousness. Like, I mean, how serious are you about getting a belt? Being the best in the division versus I want to be on this to see how well I do and have fun. So it's because there are definitely players, and I'm not going to call people out, but there are definitely players that are there to have fun. I mean, look at like the Makugas that we had. They didn't give a two you-know-whats about if they won or not. They were there to be funny, entertaining, and have fun. And we wouldn't want to play, or yeah, exactly. We wouldn't want, I guarantee you, there would be less people watching if everyone was 100% serious all the time.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest elements of this show is that it's entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, people this year call it the Real Rejects shouldn't be in the league anymore. I don't, because they haven't been good, blah, 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 blah. I don't laugh harder than when I see them play. Plain and simple. And to me, I could watch them lose all year, but I know I'm going to enjoy the hell out of their match because they're going to make me laugh the entire time. Why would I want to see those types of people go?
Well, like Shazam too. To answer Galaxy Geeks in the chat, are there any just fun players anymore? Bibiani and Brendan. Like, they're good, so of course they're going to take it a little serious, but they go out there to have fun, and look what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, there has to be a level of seriousness, but you're not going to enjoy it if it's not people having fun doing this. Like, we don't want to watch people being forced to answer movie trivia questions. It's like
Adam Witt.
Yeah, the man hasn't won a single match ever. And he's been a manager. He's played in any situation that he's been asked to. He pops up at the most random times doing the funniest things. It's just, yeah. The benefit of the doubt rule, it's going to be a very hard one to nail down.
Well, they're going to do it. They're going to have to, because it's reoccurring a lot more now in matches. And so whichever way they decide to go as far as decisions, it'll definitely be revised this year, I'm sure, or just locked and sealed in the ruling that it currently is in. And that's what the announcers have to abide by. So we'll see. It's an interesting conversation. I'm sure it's not the last time that we're going to have this conversation. But for now, I think that's going to wrap up tonight's show, everyone. We had one hell of a show. We talked about quite a bit. We've had both Thomas Harper and SAUL on. It was a den takeover tonight. As I mentioned, we will talk about Brittany Young and James White a little bit later on and cover that when we have a little bit more time. And obviously,
Jill wants to talk about someone from Corruption. Let's be honest.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And we'll be back this week for reactions on both Wednesday and Thursday. We will not have one on Friday because there is a pay-per-view happening on Friday. And then on...
I would just like to say we finally made it when we get spammed in the chat.
Yeah, right?
We made
boy.
It. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, the one time Rachel's not here.
Rachel,
oh, wait, I
Brandy's
can put
still
it in
around. Someone, because we are getting spammed hard.
I just did
There we go. Thank you, guys. Thank you. You guys rock. All right, one last plug before we get out of here, or actually a couple plugs. One, if you missed it, September 25th, y'all. Amaru, I know you're playing that day, but this bad boy is happening. Jill and Molly are being joined.
God, I just realized Ken's shirt. Oh my God, that's horrible.
The Porg.
Jill and Molly are being joined by one wild man and one pit boss on Happy Hour. September 25th, right here on this channel, y'all. It's going to be a blast. It would be almost 2 months since the last Happy Hour when this one goes down, and you know it's going to be crazy.
Alex earlier in the chat, Alex reminded me the drink that I was going to suggest.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah,
it is just whiskey, but there's crushed Tums on the rim, and we were going to call that the knapsack.
Fair enough.
It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. Yeah, so make sure you guys have that on your calendars. You're joining for that one. Get ready because that one's going to be a blast. Of course, check out our Patreon if you are interested. The biggest thing that we can highlight going on this week is we are playing Back to the Future Bar Trivia on Thursday.
Lord help
It
us.
is happening. We have special guests lined up, they are all very excited to join us. Check out that $10 and $20 tier as you can play some bar trivia with us once a month. And Back to the
Breaking
Future.
news. That has nothing to do with this, but finish what you're saying. Sorry.
Back to the Future Bar Trivia is happening on Thursday, and we do other things, including more reactions, Q&A, which went up last week, and, of course, watch-alongs, which is going to be a blast as well. Brian, go ahead.
The first trailer for Hawkeye is coming tomorrow.
All right.
Ooh.
Cool deal. Super stoked. We will talk about that a little bit later on a different channel because that has nothing to do with this channel. But for now, I will let these two plug whatever they would like to. Brian, I'll let you kick it off.
Well, if you would like to see said trailer reaction, you can check Jake and I out on Apocalypse Movies. See, you like how I did that? Planned it perfectly. Apocalypse Movies. You can find me on Twitter at @BeAVolcino. And yeah, that's about it.
Molly?
I'm on Twitter at Molly Damon. Alex and I haven't been doing too many trailer reactions, which we should be doing them, but we've just been really lazy since I got back from DragonCon. So maybe we'll do one too.
It's spooky season. When is Twitch coming?
That's true. Yes. I mean, I'm still stuck studying for this crazy tournament that I'm about to be in, but that's not going to stop me from bringing back Twitch for spooky season. So stay tuned for that. Molly Damon on Twitch.
And yeah, we will. I know that the brackets were released on Friday by Christian for both Star Wars and teams. We'll cover those next week. And I know Jill has some thoughts as well as we get closer to the teams and Star Wars matches happening. Which I believe the first Star Wars match is actually this week, which we will be having a reaction to. It could be wrong. We'll see. You can follow me on Twitter at Qui-Gon Jake, 2 N's. Someone else took it before I did. Schmoedown POV right up there. You get all the news and everything from us when we get going. Of course, Streamlabs for questions and comments. Greatly appreciate that. And then the Patreon, of course. So check that out. Thank you to everyone who watches live. We love you guys. Thank you to both brand new Star Wars champion Thomas Harper for joining us and Saul. Really fun time talking to him. Hope you guys have a great Sunday and a great rest of your week until we see you on Wednesday. Bye, guys.